Miniature Wargames review is back, and we're on episode 437, which is September 2019, and it's a really interesting issue. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for all those messages of support I've been having, and people asking where's the channel, what's going on. And as most of you know by now, I've not got one, but two elderly ill parents to look after, plus a young family, so it's been a bit of a nightmare. I'm actually in my parents' house now filming this. So coming over here quite a lot makes wargaming very, very difficult to do. Painting's taken a dip, all the hobby stuff's really gone back. It's been a difficult time. But hey, I can still read the magazines. And I thought, while I'm here, why not make some videos here? I do have a bit of a backlog of the magazines over the last 6 months. I was going to work through them, but hey, it's wasn't yesterday's news, it's today's chip wrapping, and I'll never get through them anyway. So I might backtrack at some point. I thought it'd make more sense to go with the latest issue, which is September 2019, which emphasises on Vive l'Empereur. Mr. Treadaway helpfully informs us that this is the 250th anniversary of the birth of the Ogre of Europe. And John, another new hat. Why isn't it Napoleonic if you're talking about Napoleon? Little bicorn, look rather nice, I think, with your beard. Or maybe something like, what they call them, the pioneers, you know, with the big beards. Anyway, quick look at their contents. All the usual features, nothing much has changed since the last report. Special ones are Joy of Six and one, the biggest war game ever, which is remarkable and is very impressive. So let's whiz through without further ado. This seemed rather strange. First page, when I used to work in advertising, this was the most expensive page in the magazine, and it's about some trees being launched, and they're old-fashioned wire wound trees from deep cut. I don't know why that gets such prominence. And then we got news and diary dates, which apparently is the launch of some Vikings. It all seems a bit, I don't know who did the final edit this month. Seems all over the place. But there we are, box of 60 Vikings, nice pictures from Victrix. They look good, you get 60 with those. Some new figures. And then this one ties in with one of my bugbears. I think a lot of you know about this magazine, where the wargaming book review section seems to be full of history books and not wargaming books. And I find it a little bit annoying. And here's one book, which I think would have gone very nicely, actually, the book review. I mean, it's all about uniforms and the organisation of the army and stuff like that. Would have been very helpful. And that goes in Forward Observer. So here we go. So under news and diary dates, we've got British bunkers from World War II. I think these are the British base hardened defences. And then we got another, bizarrely, another book, World War II. But this is a painting guide, so I'll let that one off. I can go in the front or the back or both, why not? And then a quick plug then for the big, what they call it again? The big show, the gaming show that's coming up in September. Tabletop Gaming Live. More dates for the diary. I am really hoping to get down to colours on 7th of September. It's just after my birthday, and I always treat myself to something. It's like an annual pilgrimage with a few friends. Before that, 18th of August, if I get this video up in time, it's Partisan, that's Sunday. Then we've got Hereward in Peterborough, 1st of September. And I think there's an article on Hereward. Once the same reference, probably is. And if I still lived in London, I'd love to go to Selwig, South London Warlords, South East London Warlords, Selwig, down the Crystal Palace on 20th of October, and stuff from later in the year. Now, first of all, good to see that old Conrad is still in great form. I thoroughly enjoyed this article. It's a little scenario, and I want to particularly mention, I made a note on there, that's one of my friends I've met through my painting services. It's Jeff Coe. And Jeff was very interested in this era of Hungarian uprisings in sort of late 1840s and rebelling against the Habsburg Empire. And this gives a really good scenario I think he'd enjoy, and he's used mostly 20, the little 1/72 figures. And he does reference Steve Barber's website, and I'd say go there, but I'm biased because a lot of the figures on the display for this period were commissioned by Jeff, and the ones you see on the website are painted by me. I'm very proud of those. So here we go, and there's a very interesting little set of 3 scenarios, and as always, I'm using Conrad's style. Right, I need to push on. This, the great game, is worth looking at the magazine just for this. There are some links in there to look at more on the internet. I'm not going to plot spoil it. Buy the magazine. It is a very good issue. This game had... How many figures do you think? How many figures? Oh, look, it's supposed to be the biggest game ever. 22,500 28mm Napoleonic figures. The total, 114 players. And the total table size is 24 by 8 meters. Look at that. And he explains how they did it, logistics, how it was played. Brilliant, really clever. What's this? What's this? I don't know what this is. Steam Forge Games on tour at the Excel. Ooh. Okay. There. Another show at the Excel. I wonder what that is. Okay, don't know much about that. Then you got Alternative Waterloos. And this is written by Arthur Harman, who's a legend of the wargaming world. If you don't know his name, he goes way back. Loads of sets of rules, been on TV, hang out with all the guys. He's great. It's a brilliant article. He's proper, good old writing, a little bit old-fashioned, but that's because it's proper writing, proper English, and it's very good. And he talks about alternative scenarios of Waterloo. Because you know, the trouble is, you play a Waterloo game, everyone knows what happens, everyone kind of knows what Napoleon should have done, how he should have won. Well, this has got all different, and it's not just him pulling him out of the air. He's referencing historical writings. People have said, what if Napoleon had done this, or if he had won quicker at Quatre Bras, what would have happened? Lots of scenarios which make it more interesting, fresh challenge for your wargaming buddies who probably know Waterloo inside out. We'll have all these figures they want to get on the table. There's a load of links, reading references, internet references. That's a cracking article. The only thing I would say, I'd like to have had some maps to explain what he's talking about rather than just some random Napoleonic's eye candy. And then we have the command decisions, another one of these. And this is this kind of Persians against Mughals. And I have to say, I always think it's a great idea. I just don't think they quite executed quite right, because I don't think you have enough information to make a really informed choice. So what I tend to do is look forward and cheat and look at all the dice outcomes are, what you might roll, and then make a decision. I think it just makes a much better game that way. The idea is you've got different options, you pick one, roll a dice, and that gives you an outcome to generate a game. It's like, oh, well, I'll try that one. You know, so, right, okay, so they've got how to wargame it. And it is very good, actually. Loads of historical background. Okay, then we got, I think there should be 6 in up. There we are. I think they've missed the whole point of this joke. But there you go. That's a new article by Alex Webster, who's apparently his first contribution. It's very good. Some nice photographs. I like to see these photographs bigger, more of them, because I think they're really good. And it's all about the visual spectacle with 6mm figures. So we are, it's an annual event, so unfortunately you have to wait another year to go on that one. Now then, what always amuses me is Fantasy Facts. And I've come up with a new title. Because it's a joke, you see, the idea is fantasy can't be facts because it's a fantasy. How about changing it to science fiction facts? Even funnier, fiction facts. So as usual, it's usual. Sci-fi, zombie apocalypse, which I would call sci-fi. You know, near future sci-fi. And sci-fi. And sci-fi. And sci-fi. And sci-fi. And I don't really blame the editor, John Treadaway. I mean, it is his kind of favourite period, which you might sort of guess from looking at this. But he can only... oh, hang on, I missed this. This is the last edition of Fantasy Facts, for the time being anyway. But there again, I've said that before. It's not the end of non-historical reviews, of course, but we're going to put these into practice, something I've said for years. Blah, blah, blah. There's no difference between war games, historical and non-historical. Oh, okay, alright, well, I'll let you read the rest of that yourselves. Interesting. This is me whinging about it. It's not going to be there anyway, so what's the point of sticking in, kicking a dead horse? Right, tabletop gaming plug. I heard it was very good last year. I'd like to go this year. I don't think I can get away from home, unfortunately. I just do a little short pop to Reading. Right, and there's all plugs more about that. Right, now then, creating the Forgotten War, which is a sort of plug piece for the latest Bolt Action supplement, which is about Korea and how they put the game together and difficulties in working out the Chinese troops and that kind of thing. I do wish there were a proper look at the politics in one of these. I mean, a proper look, an alternative look. You know, it's about the UN flexing their muscles and how war was declared bypassing Congress in America, all that kind of stuff. Really is interesting. But anyway, here we go. And there's it's a well-researched article, lots of history, a little bit of a painting guide. Come on, push on, Ross, push on, push on, push on. Recce, oh yeah, colours. So I'm hoping to be there. Who did this advert? So squished the picture, but there we are. I think the people who are going to go are going to go, and it's a reminder when it is and where it is. So if you see me, come and say hello. Right, Recce, so here we go, you see. This is supposed to be the Wargaming book section, and it's history books, really. History. And then usual, loads of World War One and Two. Bom, bom, bom. There we go. So I'm going to fill a magazine with something, is what it feels like to me, I'm sorry to say. A long week in March. I don't know anybody who Wargames any of these, but there is one interesting one, and that actually gets the medal. There you go. Dun, dun, dun. And that is War and Soldiers in the Early Reign of Louis XIV, when muskets are taking over pikes, all that kind of stuff. More World War II books. Hey, and let's have more World War II stuff. And let's have some more World War II stuff. So if you like World War II historical books, there's quite a list of them in here. There's more adverts. And I think, oh, hang on. This article surprised me. The Wargamancer. A bit of a joke on Neuromancer. I remember reading that when it came out way back in the day. My friend Simon bought me a copy as a birthday present. I read it, and at the end of it I said, "Simon, what on earth was that about?" And he said, "I don't know, I read it. I have no idea either. That's why I gave you a copy." So anyway, it comes from the mind of William Gibson and foreseeing the internet and this kind of dystopian future we are hurtling towards, with corporatocracy running things and computers pervading every part of our lives. But anyway, this guy's tapped into that. I should look up his name. Come on, come on, come on. What is your name? Because I'm very impressed. It says interview by Joseph Maguire. There we go. And if you're into zombie stuff and apocalyptic stuff, he has written quite a few sets of rules. And it's just well written. He's a good writer. So if he wrote the article or the interviewer wrote it, it's nice. So if you're looking at that kind of thing, I don't know, it sounds interesting. It's not something I've ever played much of, but I do like the genre and the thinking behind it. A little bit of rapid painting guides as well. I think I've got 3 painting guides in this issue. They're all about how to do it quickly. There are a plug for Selwig, some adverts of figures. There are another how to do it quick and dirty. I think that's probably Kevin Dallamore's work on the front cover. He must be choking on his coffee looking at these things. Slap on some paint and wash it seems to be the order of the day. There's a few time-saving tricks. And then Diane, still going, one of the best written articles. Very charming, witty, humorous as always. How to make some bunkers. There you go. Nothing particularly new, but I always pick up something. And again, I picked up a little bonus. This time on putting together little piles of rubble and stuff. And then we've got some Saxon stuff, or Angles, or Danes, or whatever they want to call themselves. It's about, it is Hereward, isn't it? There we go. Well, I'm not doing mad. They are Hereward and a rebellion against the Normans. It's quite a fun little piece, this, because it's one of these kind of legendary uprisings where there's a witch involved and religious monuments, and so we sort of put a little bit of a magical element into it, and how to stage it, and scenarios, and finding your way to the friends. I think it's excellent. Well done. Credit was due. Here's this. Chris Swan. Good Anglo Saxon sounding name, isn't it? Swan. There we go. Okay, we're almost at the end. Oh, see, I've got mad. You see, who did the bunkers? Hang on. I do apologise. The bunkers is James Winspear. There we go, James. Sorry, I cut you short there. It's an interesting little article. Very much in the style of how Diane does things. And this is what I was on about, finding some extra tips. So I like this kind of thing. I just use them as scatter pieces. I make them quite small and just stick them around the battlefield. They don't mean anything, don't do anything in the game. They just break it up a bit, make it more interesting. And I think obviously she's involved with the Wargame Centre where they have massive tables, and this kind of stuff really helps you not feel like you're playing on a snooker table. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Some small ads in the back which have gone eye-wateringly expensive since they changed publishers a while ago. And it's not really a surprise that the classified section is getting smaller. I know they priced me out, but at the moment I can't do much work anyway, so hey, there you go. And Fallout, I have to say, think about the whole magazine's got quite a sort of see, one of the things, even 40k gets quite a mention, especially by the guy talking about zombie stuff and the futuristic. What's your name again? James. I do apologise. Yeah, Joseph. Sorry, Joseph Maguire. The words Warhammer sneaked in and Games Workshop, and there he's looking with something that looks an awful lot like the sort of thing a Space Marine would carry. So it's going, I don't know, I mean, I suppose once any editor's been at anything a long time, their mark starts to become more on it. It's becoming more sci-fi, just coincidence perhaps, a lot of it. And there's more on the back. It'll be interesting to see where it goes, because I have to say, I was in, like I said, Firestorm just last night with my son. He's still quite young. I'm looking around the games, loads of 40k, few old fellas playing some sort of historical type games that we do, and you do have to wonder what's the future of the hobby, how we get them in. And I'm going to start talking more about that soon. There we are, I see Kira's arriving. I'm probably going to get interrupted any second. So, until the next time, keep rolling!
我们要互相亏欠，要不。